Welcome to the Gut 360 podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Breacher, a registered associate nutritionist on a mission to empower you to transform the health of your mind, body, and gut. This podcast is the place where we share nutrition tips, mindset tools, and actionable steps to help you thrive on your journey to a healthier gut and a happier you. If you're ready to get into the driver's seat of your own health and unlock your full potential, you're in the right place, and I am so glad you're here. Hello and welcome back to the Gut 360 podcast. I hope you all had the best first week of 2024 and are managing to get back into the swing of things after the holidays. I'm back with your weekly dose of Monday morning inspiration and education. And today I'm sharing my 5 steps to improve your gut health. So we're talking not only about how to transform your digestion, but also how to banish brain fog. Because if you didn't already know, the gut is linked to so many other systems in the body and it's really closely connected to our brains. So I know it's pretty cold and grey outside, but pop your trainers on, AirPods in, and head outside for a little walk so you can get your steps in while you listen to today's episode. Seriously, hit pause if you need to, grab your raincoat and an umbrella just in case, and go get some fresh air. You can thank me later when you come back feeling revived and energized. Or if you're currently on your way to work, driving, or just listening to this around the house, I really hope you enjoy this episode and take away some top tips and actionable steps you can implement to improve your digestion, gut health, and brain fog. Now, before we get started, it's important to understand that gut health goes far beyond the digestive system. The gut is known as the second brain, and it's closely linked with mental health, anxiety, depression, and also other things like the immune system, diabetes, skin conditions, obesity, heart disease, and today's topic, which is brain fog. So as you can see, supporting your gut health is essential for looking after the rest of your body. First, we're going to talk about brain fog and how it's connected to your gut health, and then I'll share my 5 steps to improve your gut health and hopefully banish brain fog too. Now, brain fog is not a medical term, so there's no clinical definition, but it's often used to describe a variety of symptoms. Things like poor memory and concentration, an inability to focus or being easily distracted, or a confused and slow thinking process. Of course, sometimes we'll all walk into a room and forget why, or we'll lose our keys a few too many times, but brain fog is more. It's that sense of hazy thinking, mental sluggishness. Although more research is still needed to help us understand the specific links between gut health and brain fog, some theories have emerged to explain why conditions like IBS could cause mental symptoms like foggy thinking and lack of focus. And most theories revolve around the gut microbiome, which, as you might know by now, are the trillions of bacteria and other organisms that live inside our gut or our intestines. And our gut microbiome is a really delicate ecosystem. So any imbalances in this ecosystem could lead to trouble not only in your digestion, but in your brain as well. And it can potentially impact how mentally sharp and switched on we feel. So this imbalance in the gut microbiome of the good and bad bacteria that live in our intestines is known as dysbiosis. And gut dysbiosis can be a result of things like high sugar intake, not eating enough dietary fiber, generally low intake of foods which support good gut health and good gut bacteria, and also the frequent use of antibiotics, which are obviously amazing when we need them, but they don't just kill the bad bacteria causing the infection you have, they kill all the good bacteria in our guts as well. It's worth pointing out that brain fog has also been associated with other potential causes, which we'll chat more about towards the end of this episode. So if you want to improve your gut health and reduce your chances of experiencing symptoms like brain fog, but you're not sure where to start, these 5 steps are a really good place to begin. Step 1 is to eat more fiber. Fiber can be found in vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, beans, pulses, and whole grains. And you've probably heard that fiber is important for a healthy digestive system, but its positive health benefits stretch far beyond the gut. Fiber is great for weight management. It can help reduce cholesterol. It can also lower your risk of bowel cancer and diabetes by helping with blood sugar control. And fiber also promotes a healthy and diverse gut microbiome, which, as you know from earlier in this episode, could play a key role in reducing brain fog, as well as supporting the immune system, mental health, and so on. Firstly, make sure you're hitting your 5 a day as a bare minimum, but aiming higher if you can. Swap your white refined carbohydrates for whole grain varieties, so things like brown rice, whole grain rye breads, and whole wheat pasta. Add beans and pulses to any meals like soups and stews, hearty chickpea salads. Snack on nuts and seeds, being aware of portion sizes, of course. It's easy to overdo it. If you're at the cinema, go for popcorn over pick and mix. Popcorn is actually really high in fiber. And also keep a variety of healthy fiber-rich snacks in the fridge. So things like carrot sticks with hummus, apple slices dipped in almond butter, or a date filled with peanut butter. That's actually one of my personal favorite snacks of all time, as lots of my friends will know. And that brings us on to step 2, which is diversity. Studies have shown that the microbes in our gut thrive off diversity. So we want to be consuming a colourful and diverse range of plant-based foods. Things like vegetables, fruits, different nuts and seeds, different whole grains, not the same grains day in, day out. Beans, legumes, lentils, that kind of thing. And all of these contribute to a healthy and diverse gut microbiome. So when you're aiming for a more diverse diet, eating seasonally can be a really great way to ensure that you're regularly trying new produce when it's at its prime. And if you want to learn how to eat in tune with the seasons, I've actually written a complete step-by-step guide to seasonal eating with 12 seasonal recipes to walk you through each month of the year. So if you are interested in eating more seasonally to not only support your health, but also the environment, local farmers, and your wallet too, then my ebook was created for you. It's called 6 Reasons to Eat with the Seasons. And it includes things like my pear and rhubarb crumble, my kale pesto, courgette and carrot fritters, and lots more tasty, nutritious seasonal recipes. So if that sounds like something you'd like to check out, I will leave the link in the show notes below this episode for you. Moving on to step 3, let's talk about fermented foods. Now, fermented foods contain beneficial bacteria for our gut microbiome, which we sometimes refer to as probiotics. And examples of fermented foods are things like sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, and live yogurt. And they all support and nourish our gut microbiome. They may also help improve your gut health and in turn support not only your digestion, but also your immune system, your skin, weight management, mood balance, and of course, brain fog. As well as in fermented foods, these good bacteria can also be found in probiotic supplements. Now, when it comes to supplements, these can be really beneficial, so they might be worth exploring if your gut needs some extra care. But please remember that everyone is unique when it comes to supplements, so I would strongly encourage you to seek guidance from a qualified nutritionist. If you're interested in improving your gut health, you can book a free introductory call with me through the link in the show notes below this episode. Now, as you know, on the Gut 360 podcast, we take a 360-degree approach to gut health because we know that true wellness extends beyond the food on our plate. And it's always important to consider our lifestyle as well, which is why step 4 is to consider stress reduction techniques. Stress can affect our brain function, so finding ways to manage those feelings of overwhelm and anxiety through stress reduction techniques could really help to clear a sense of mental fogginess, both directly and also indirectly by benefiting our gut health. And what I mean by that is that the gut and brain are so closely connected through what we call the gut-brain axis, which is the way that the gut and brain communicate with each other. So reducing our stress can also positively impact our gut health, while improving our gut health can positively impact our mental health and the way we think. So it works both ways. It's a two-way relationship. So some examples of stress management techniques to consider might be doing yoga, going for a long walk in nature, simply calling a friend for a chat, or meditation, which is something I'm a really big fan of. And practicing mindfulness and meditation actually activates our rest and digest response, which is the opposite of our body being in what we call fight or flight mode. So by reducing our stress levels, we're encouraging good gut health. The 5th and final step to improve your gut health and reduce the likelihood of brain fog is mindful eating. Since we know that stress sends us into fight or flight mode, which shuts down digestion, I always encourage my clients to avoid eating on the go and try to make meal times as peaceful as possible. Mindful eating habits can really help promote a relaxed state at meal times, which in turn can have a positive impact on both stress and digestion. So to practice mindful eating, slow down, put away any distractions, and be present, engage all your senses, really tune into the tastes, the aromas, the textures of what you're eating. Before moving on, I'll quickly summarize these 5 steps. So they were fiber, diversity, fermented foods, stress reduction techniques like meditation, and mindful eating. Now, beyond these 5 steps, something that you can do that might help you get clarity on your symptoms and figure out whether a specific food might be associated with your brain fog is to keep a food and mood journal. And you can use it to track what you're eating and how you're feeling so that you have some data to better pinpoint when you're experiencing that brain fog and any potential diet or lifestyle triggers. Before I bring this podcast to a close, keep in mind that brain fog may also be linked to an overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine called SIBO, or small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And it's also worth exploring some other potential causes of brain fog, so things like stress, hormonal changes, mental health issues like anxiety or depression, which may also be linked to gut health, medication side effects, reactions to food additives, and even dehydration. If someone came to me in clinic struggling with brain fog, I would also look at their blood sugar management because fluctuations in blood sugar affect the way that your brain functions and your ability to concentrate. And we know that the brain prefers a steady release of sugar to function properly. So I would take a good look at what you're eating and how that might be impacting your blood sugar as well. Don't forget that improving your gut health and brain health takes time. It's not an overnight quick fix, and everyone is different. Also, remember that none of the things we've discussed today should be taken as medical advice, and it's really important to look at what's going on for you as an individual, and then you can build a personalized plan based on your specific needs and under the guidance of a qualified nutritionist. I hope you guys found this episode really valuable, and if you did, I would be super grateful if you could rate and leave a review wherever you're listening to this, because as I'm sure you know, it really helps my podcast reach a wider audience so we can empower more people to take back control of their gut health and unlock their full potential without being held back by their health. If you have any questions about today's episode, I would love to hear from you on Instagram. My handle is @EllieBreacherNutrition, and my DMs are always open, so please drop me a message. Let me know what you thought of today's episode, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. I'll be back next Monday with a really fun episode for you that I know you guys are going to love, so make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Gut 360 podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast or learned something new, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. And make sure you hit follow for weekly episodes every Monday morning. Do share this podcast with anyone who you think it may benefit. And for your chance to win a free online nutrition consultation with me, just take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your Instagram stories, tagging @EllieBreacherNutrition so I can repost you. See you back here next Monday.